She wanted to see the city as soon as possible. My parents and the officials and I went to the station to meet her. He pauses. I know he is picturing the meeting in his mind, imagining my mother stepping off the air train. And I know I sound impatient, but I have to remember that he's not back in the past. He's here in the present, and I need to know everything I can about the match that made me. When she stepped off the train, your grandmother said to me, she still has the sun on her face. My father pauses and smiles. She did too. I never seen anyone look so warm and alive. My parents never voiced a concern about her again. I think we all fell in love with her that day. Neither of us noticed my mother standing in the doorway until she cleared her throat. And I wish all for you. She seems a little sad, and I wonder if she's thinking about grandfather or grandmother or both. And my father are now the last two people left who remembered that day, except for maybe the officials who oversaw their meeting. Who called so late on the port, I asked. Someone from work, my mother says, looking weary. She sits down next to my father and leans her head on the shoulder, and he puts his arm around her. I have to leave on a trip tomorrow. Why? My mother yawns, her blue eyes opening wide. Her face is still sun-kissed from her work outdoors. She looks a little older than usual, and for the first time I see a bit of gray interwoven in her thick blonde hair. Some shadow in her sunlight. It's late, Kezia. You should be asleep. I should be asleep. I tell you and Bram about it in the morning. I don't protest. I close my hand over the microcard and say, all right. Before I leave for my room, my mother leans over and gives me a kiss goodnight. Once I'm back in my room, I listen to the walls again. Something about my mother leaving right now alarms me. Why now? Where is she going? How long will she be gone? She so rarely goes on trips for work. So, my father says in the other room, trying to keep his voice quiet. Is everything alright? I can't think of the last time we've had a call so late at night. I can't tell. Something seems to be going on, but I don't know what it is. They're pulling a few of us from the atrium to come look at the crop at the atrium in the Garina Providence. Her voice has a sing-song quality that gets when it's very late and she's very tired. I remember it from the night when she used to tell me those flower stories, and I felt reassured. If she doesn't think something is wrong, then everything must be fine. My mother is one of the smartest people I know. How long will you be gone? My father asks. A week at most. Do you think Cassie and Bram will be alright? It's a rather long trip. They'll understand. There's a pause. Cassia still seems upset about the sample. I know. Don't worry about it, my mother sighs. A soft sound that somehow I still hear through the walls. It was an honest mistake. I hope she sees that soon. A mistake? It wasn't a mistake, I think. And then I realize she doesn't know. He hasn't told her. My father has a secret from my mother. And I have a horrible thought. So their match isn't perfect after all. That moment I wish it back. If their match isn't perfect, then what are the chances of that mine will be? The next morning, another thunderstorm thumbles through the leaves and the maple trees and the shower rain on the new roses. I'm eating my breakfast, oatmeal again, streaming in the foilware. Dishes when I hear the port announce Cassia Rays. Your leisure activity hiking has been canceled for the day due to the incented weather. Please report to the second school for extra study hours instead. No hiking, which means no kai. I walk to the air train is the wet one and muggy. The rain adds to the weather in the air, trapping the humidity. My copier hair begins to tangle and curl, as it does sometimes when the weather is like this. I look up at the sky, but only see the mass of clouds. No break anywhere. No one else is at the air train. Not M, not Xander, not Kai. They're probably caught other trains or are still getting ready. But I have a sense of something I missed. Something missing. Someone missing. Maybe it's me. Once I'm at school, I go upstairs to the research library, where there are several ports, and I find out that Dylan Thomas and Alfred Lord Tyson, and if they have any poems that did make the section. I don't think they did, but I have to make sure. My fingers hover over the screen of the port and I hesitate. The fastest way out to find out would be to type their names, but then there would be a record of someone searching for them, and their search could be traced back to me. It's much safer to go through the list of poets in the 100 Poems database instead. If I'm looking through the poets, after poet after poet, it will seem more like an assignment for a class and less like a search for something specific. It takes a long time to go through each name, but I finally get to the T's and find one poem by Tyson, and I want to read it, but I don't have time. There is no Thomas. There is Thoreau. I touch the name. One poem of his, The Moon, has been saved. I wonder if he wrote anything else. If he did, it is gone now. Why did my grandfather give me those poems? Did he want me to find some meaning in them? Does he want me to go gentle? What does that even mean? Am I supposed to fight against authority? I might as well ask if he wants me to commit suicide, because that's what it would be. I wouldn't actually die, but if I ever tried to break the rules, they take away everything I value. A match, a family of my own, a good vocation. I would have nothing. I don't think grandfather would want that of me. I can't figure it out. I thought about it and turned the words over in my head. I wish I could see the words again on the paper and puzzle it out. For some reason, I feel like everything would be different if I could see them outside of myself, not only in my mind. I realized one thing though. Even though I've done the right thing, burned the words and tried to forget them, it doesn't work. These words won't go away. I'm relieved the minute I see Em sitting in the meal hall. She practically glows when she sees me. She lifts her arm and waves. The banquet went well then. She didn't panic. She made it through. She isn't dead. I hurry through the line, sliding into my seat next to her. So I ask, even though I already know the answer, how was the banquet? Her radiance shines on everyone in the room. Everyone at our table smiles. It was perfect. Not a loin then? I say, making the feeble joke. Loin was matched a few months ago. Em laughs. No, his name's Daniel. He's from Arctica Providence. Arctica is one of the more heavily forested provinces to the east, miles away from our rolling hills and reveled valleys here in Aurea. They have stones in Arctica and seas, things we don't have much here. And I lean forward so I don't rest my friends gathered at the table, all of us eager for details about the boy Em will marry. When he stood up, I thought, he can't be for me. He's tall, and he smiled right at me through the screen. He didn't even look a bit nervous. So he's handsome? Of course, Em says. And he didn't seem too disappointed in me either. Thank goodness. How could he be? Em shines so radiantly today in her drab brown plain clothes. that I imagine she is impossible to look away from last night in her yellow dress. So, he's handsome. But what exactly does he look like? I'm embarrassed to hear a hint of jealousy in my voice. Pain and clear. No one gathered around me to find out what Xander was like. There's no mystery because they already knew. Emma's kind enough to ignore it. Actually, he's a little like Xander, she begins, and then breaks off. I follow her gaze to where Xander stands a few feet away from us, holding his foilware on a tray and looking stricken. Did he hear the jealousy in my voice when Em describes her match? What is wrong with me? I try to cover it up. We are talking about Em's match. He looks like you. Xander recovers quickly. He's so unbelievably handsome. He sits down next to me and doesn't look in my direction. I'm embarrassed. He definitely heard me. Of course, Em laughs. I don't know why I was so worried. She blushes a little, probably remembering the night in the musical, and looks at Xander. It all turned out perfectly, the way you said it would. I wish they still let you print out pictures right away. I say, I want to see what he looks like. And describes her match and tells us facts about Daniel that she learned from the microcard, but I'm too distracted to hear much. I worry that I've hurt Xander, and I want him to look at me, take my hand, but he does neither of those things. Em grabs my arm on our way out to the meal hall. Thank you so much for letting me borrow your compact. I think it helped to have something to hold on to, you know. I nod, agreeing. I give it back to you this morning, didn't he? No. My heart drops. Where's my compact? Why doesn't Em have it? He didn't. Em's face haze. No, I say. Why does he have it? I saw him on the air train after the match banquet. He was coming home late from work. I wanted you to have it, the compact back as soon as possible. Em takes a deep breath. I knew you'd see Kai at hiking before you'd see me. Here. I couldn't bring us straight back to your house because I was worried about being late for curfew. Hiking was canceled this morning because of the weather. It was? Hiking is one of the summer leisure activities that absolutely can't be done in the incidence of weather. Even swimming can be done in the indoor pool. Em looks sick. I should have realized that. But why didn't he find some way to get it to you? He knew how important it was. I made sure to tell him. Good question, but doesn't want to ruin Em's big moment. I don't want her to worry. I'm sure he will give it to Ada, or give it to my mother or father. I say, trying to sound lighthearted. Or he'll give it to me tomorrow at hiking. Don't worry, Xander says, looking distracted directly at me now. He reaches out with his words to cross the small divide that keeps coming up between us. You can trust Kai.